welcome to this Survivor Series edition of the Remark. Yes, it's that time of year where the guys on Raw and SmackDown Live suddenly remember that the other show exists and that they have no beef with each other whatsoever. So the only course of action is to launch a full-scale assault on each other in a singular hive-minded group where nobody has any individual motivations or grudges of their own. And if you're not already invested, well, that's really all there is to it. So you're kinda screwed. My name's Martin, and I am currently being booked the same way that Jason Jordan is. To be unsympathetic and whinge at every given opportunity. That'll get the crowd behind me. What, you didn't like that joke? But my dad said that you would love that joke. I just want to be like my dad, you guys. Why won't you like me? This year, the Survivor Series Cock-Off panel is sponsored by Diabetes in a Can and is presented by the traditional panel of Q-Berts. Renee Young, aka What Happens When You Cross an Adorable Little Bunny Rabbit with a Competent TV Host. Peter Rosenberg, aka What Happens When You Cross Two Things That I Couldn't Give Less of a Crap About. Shawn Michaels, aka What Happens When You Cross basically everyone in your wrestling career, but still somehow end up smelling like roses because you're Shawn Bloody Michaels. And Jerry Lawler, aka What Happens When You Cross God himself. For this year's indecipherable series Papavar, HBK and the King wanted to come out of retirement and be part of the main event as a tag team, but it was vetoed at the last minute by a number of other random last-minute ideas the company came up with to compensate for the lack of coherent storytelling. It's a real shame as well because Jerry and Shawn had a brilliant team name for their pairing. The Royal Mumble.
Well, again, you can't help, with Jerry. Well, honestly, again, talking about with Jerry backstage, so you've got it just is. What intrigues me most about this match, honestly, to me, is then you're in the singles event with the champion versus champion. And then that's when you feel like that was our first.
Couldn't have it better myself. Jerry Lawler throws Peter Rosenberg under the bus and then dives into the driver's seat to back up over him. I believe that's also how he got out of 2 of his previous marriages.
Pete, I thought you would be so excited because you're sitting between me and HBK. That's got to be the highlight of your life. You're not wrong about that, King.
Yes, my life is super boring. Shilling is all I live for now. Oh God, my existence is an empty void. And other various pleasantries. The expert panel alludes to the impassioned battle that has been ongoing this past month between 2 wrestling TV shows that hate each other because a pay-per-view gimmick told them to.
How are you guys feeling about everything that's kind of led up to tonight? It's been intense around here lately.
It has. It's been wacky, but...
Yeah, intense and wacky. So, not unlike an episode of Tom and Jerry then. Except, the Tom and Jerry feud makes sense because they're natural enemies, whereas in the case of Survivor Series, both sides are seemingly only enemies because of their choice of wardrobe. Also, for the record, Hanna-Barbera really needs to stop pushing Jerry so much. And exactly how is he the babyface? I'm pretty sure he's tried to murder Tom several dozen times over half a century. The booking seems to be a bit counterproductive if you ask me. Also, all my friends think that Jerry the Cartoon Mouse sucks, so that means everyone thinks that Jerry the Cartoon Mouse sucks. Aren't you guys sick of Jerry the Cartoon Mouse holding down all the superior talent, like that one bulldog that I don't know what his name is? Hashtag cancel Cartoon Network.
5-on-5 men's match. And it reminds me of the first few Survivor Series when we had Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and these guys all in the same match. That's the sort of lineup we have tonight.
No, Peter, it's not quite like that. After all, Hogan and Warrior were both older, self-obsessed lunatics who probably should have made room for some of the younger talent. And I don't see anyone in this match who would fit that description. At all. Like, none of them. The joke is that it's Triple H. Jerry Lawler does a bang-up job running down the list of wrestlers on both sides of this heated TV show rivalry between TV shows on a TV show.
With the Raw Captain Kurt Angle going against the SmackDown Captain, Shane
O'Mac.
I'm looking at all of those names there. I'm trying to get all of those names straight, but there's just too many names to mention. Just take a look at that. This is going to be awesome.
It's okay, Jerry. Don't worry about it. I'm sure anyone else would have forgotten that Shane McMahon was SmackDown Live's team captain as well. After all, it's not like the marketing for this pay-per-view has been predominantly related to Shane, or that Shane is directly in front of Team SmackDown in the image we're looking at right now, this very instant. No, it's all been very vague and confusing. But never mind that minor stumble. Let's pass things over to HBK to get us hyped up for the Women's Survivor Series match.
That's a
And
dream
of
match.
course, yes, the women's 5-on-5.
Yes, sir.
Haha, what indeed. Peter Rosenberg describes the level of investment the general viewing audience has for each of tonight's hastily thrown together, historically storied rivalries.
I know, this is a night where you just do not know. You look at every match and you have no idea.
You know, that also describes the creative process that went into each of these matches.
Only 2 women in WWE history to hold the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships.
Man.
Am I supposed to go? Because I think you took mine.
All right, well,
We're good.
That's
We're
supposed to
good.
go.
Yeah, classic friendly banter. Yes, nothing says chemistry and camaraderie like a bunch of confused people at a table saying things like, "What the hell are we supposed to be doing?" Renee Young delves into the deep lore that is the Survivor Series pay-per-view.
It, of course, all started when Shane O'Mac uttered the words, #under siege.
You know, nothing completely undercuts the intensity of a storyline quite like when the dialogue features bloody hashtags. Remember the classic feud between Triple H and Cactus Jack that had the classic promo where Mick Foley screamed #YOLO? Or that Terry Funk promo where he reiterated #forever over and over again? Or those great Undertaker WrestleMania bouts where they promoted it with #the streak? Okay, so that last one was real, but saying it out loud is very #silly. Baron Corbin recounts the touching story of meeting his first Make-A-Wish kid.
I came into your house, kicked down your door, and ran over your little Raw superstars like nothing.
Yes, for those of you living under a rock, which is how I describe people who don't keep up with around 7 hours of wrestling content every week, SmackDown Live attacked the Raw brand en masse 4 weeks ago, only for Raw to follow suit and invade SmackDown on the episode leading into tonight's pay-per-view. Why did both shows attack one another? Why, it's because they each wanted to prove that their WWE branded wrestling product is better than the other WWE branded wrestling product. And I don't know about you, but I get especially invested in my wrestling when I know it's about branding. Brand versus brand is my second favorite match, just below Lumberjack match. I mean, if Nike went up to Reebok and hit it with a steel chair and got all up in its face and threatened to break Reebok's kneecaps, don't tell me you wouldn't want to pay $9.99 a month to watch them slap each other across the nipples. Brands fighting. It's trademark turmoil. No, but for real, SmackDown Live and Raw are fighting because that's the theme of the month, and so they're doing it so there. Yeah, so this is all framed under the banner of Shane using the #under siege. This may as well be the bloody poster for the pay-per-view. This is what it's all about. The commentary team of Corey Graves and Michael Cole are here to comment on the first match of the night. And Booker T is here to comment on a dream he had last night about starfish or something. Who knows with him? Elias delivers his PowerPoint presentation on his new step-counting fitness software.
Who wants to walk with Elias?
Elias is interrupted by Matt Hardy, who has stopped hinting at becoming Broken Matt and has instead begun hinting that he is a remotely relevant part of the WWE roster at this point. It's subtle. You gotta really pay attention. WrestleMania is in New Orleans next year, which seems appropriate as Vince McMahon was forced to turn to the art of voodoo in order to resurrect the Shield and, in turn, people's patience with Roman Reigns. Matt Hardy and Elias have a match in front of a still relatively empty arena, which almost throws off Elias until Matt Hardy explains that he used to wrestle in TNA and is therefore all kinds of used to this. Michael Cole's commentary is as refreshing as a day-old soda you left in your car overnight.
And as Shawn Michaels on our all-star panel so eloquently put it a bit ago,
The strange scenes. All you're going to hear from me is
Booker T gives us his take on Elias.
Tell you what I like about this kid Elias. He's gotten here the hard way, man. He's taking no shortcuts or anything like that, and his craft is definitely on point tonight.
Yes, nobody could accuse the Drifter of being the sort of person to just kind of find their own way at their own pace, you know, just kind of mosey along at half speed without any real direction. Sort of like drifting, you know? Michael Cole attempts to enlist Booker T in an attempt to push the matchup of AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar, the two world champions of their respective brands and men who are widely considered to be on a whole other level than the rest of the roster. So, you know, promoting this match should be, even for Booker, like shooting fish in a barrel.
And how about first time ever, Brock Lesnar, the Universal Champion, against the WWE Champion AJ Styles tonight at Survivor Series book.
Highly anticipated match for me, but I tell you, the thing with that I'm more excited about is Triple H.
Okay, somehow the barrel has exploded and the fish are on fire. The fish are aflame. That shouldn't be possible, but somehow Booker T managed it. Michael Cole is momentarily distracted from all the wrestling when he recalls the childhood crush he had on his school librarian, Mrs. Wildly.
Elias, Miss Wildly. Hardy again!
Elias pins Matt Hardy, causing dozens of smarks with at least 500 Twitter followers between them to hastily rush to their smartphones and tweet about how this is definitely the start of the WWE's Broken Matt storyline. Even if the other 12 times they claimed as much, it totally wasn't. What's that? Oh, they're actually doing it this time. You're fucking lying. The expert panel once again hypes up the Survivor Series main event match, and this time Jerry Lawler puts so much effort into remembering that Shane is team captain that he loses all other mental faculties.
They're going to get smacked down with their captain Shane McMahon, and he's got such,
Renee Young promotes the Lesnar versus Styles match with about as much speed and preparation as the WWE booked it.
It's crazy how it feels already tonight. I mean, the doors have been opened. Oh, we've also got AJ Styles taking on Brock Lesnar. Sorry, I almost missed one there on you guys.
The Cruiserweight division is up next, and Nigel McGuinness is too busy staring at his Mountain Dew kickstart wishing he had a can of Tango to watch as Kalisto turns into the luchador equivalent of Winnie the Pooh getting stuck in the rabbit hole. Winnie the Poochador, you might say.
From Mexico City, weighing in at 170 pounds,
Oh, bother. The WWE promotes their upcoming network cooking series, Get Murdered by Kalisto While You Try to Eat.
What's this thing made of? Is this edible?
Kalisto gets confused and thinks the glass ceiling is a literal object and tries in vain to break through it.
a late birthday present could be coming. Kalisto.
Enzo Amore successfully defends his cruiserweight title against the guy who barely made it into the ring without making a complete ass out of himself. On the kickoff show. Because that's where the Cruiserweight division is at right now. The WWE Network is debuting a new series called WWE 365, the first episode of which depicts a year in the career of superstar Kevin Owens. Rumor has it that episode 2 of WWE 365 will revolve around Brock Lesnar and will start at WrestleMania next year and then has to skip all the way to day 365 in order to get to his following appearance on the product. Tom Phillips forgot to bring a packed lunch to Survivor Series and has to suffer through a poorly tummy for the rest of the night.
The Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels put it best. Tonight is about emotion.
Really? I don't remember him saying that. Oh, let's review the footage.
And just, you understand that? I mean, that is such a great point, because that is real. No, right?
No,
I mean,
it
come
was.
on,
He was
that's
dominating.
Matt Hardy. Yes, that's Matt Hardy. And yeah, well, look, I was young once. I loved the attitudes of both of them.
So, this is...
Yeah, well, again, you're not going to lack for history. No, I know, but I'm not saying mine's a thoughtful, well-educated.
It's here. I mean, it's entirely possible he said something about emotion there and I just missed it, I suppose. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out and complain about being misused and overlooked, confusing smarks everywhere as they don't know how to complain about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn being misused and overlooked when it isn't being printed in a dirt sheet by someone they've never met. Tyler Breeze and Fandango come out accompanied by their special guest, the woman who gets murdered by Jaws at the beginning of the movie.
Now,
fortunately for everyone watching, the Fashion Police characters are as entertaining as ever, and definitely weren't thrown into this spot at the last minute like kind of everything else happening on this pay-per-view.
subheading, it's violation time.
Was that Meant to be threatening or funny? Either way, it did neither of those things. Buy your significant other an Ultimate Warrior Funko Pop for Christmas, because what says Merry Christmas quite like a giant-headed, unsightly doll fashioned to look like a man who once said queering doesn't make the world work. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn pick up the win over Breezango, but never fear, I'm sure Breezango will recover from this match and take part in one of their typically witty and well-crafted comedy segments. Nah, just kidding, they'll probably be forced to do some random-ass shoehorned parody of pop culture like Justice League, except it'll be The Fashion League, and it'll feature Tyler Breeze and Fandango dressed as Flash and Batman, and they'll enlist the help of Becky Lynch as Wonder Woman, and Cesaro as the Swiss Cyborg, and they're all looking for Super Cena. And oh shit, this sounds good now. Fuck. The Survivor Series Pop-of-Our starts for realsies, and we learn that the pay-per-view is sponsored by Mattel, which seems appropriate as the booking for these matches has basically boiled down to a kid holding up two random toys and saying, okay, these guys are gonna fight now, before putting them down and forgetting about them for several months. The first match is the dream match of New Day versus The Shield, who until recently hadn't fully reunited due to Roman Reigns suffering from meningitis. No, not the condition of having an inflamed membrane surrounding your brain and spinal cord. That's meningitis. This is spelled meningitis, and it's often suffered by people who are unable to appeal to wrestling fans. I myself have been suffering from a nasty bout that's been going on for years. All joking aside, meningitis sucks, and we in the WWE fandom would certainly never want to mindlessly bash or insult Roman after such a nasty experience, and would instead like to offer our...
I like this right here. This is a great matchup. We're going to tell exactly what the New Day is all about.
Or that. Or always that. The entire commentary team across both Raw and SmackDown Live brands is on hand to give play-by-play for tonight's event, and Tom Phillips was only allowed to take part if he stood at least 3 seats away from Booker T, given that he just last year kicked his ball through Old Man Booker's window and never owned up to it. Given that this is a night where several wrestlers will be in or around the ring simultaneously, it's important for a commentary team to have a cohesive and structured approach, not to mention demonstrate chemistry between each other and an ability to stay on top of the rapid, fast-paced action. Fortunately for us, we're in the capable hands of Michael Cole and Booker T.
Let me tell you something.
Well, let me correct you. Hang on. Oh boy, guys.
And even more fortunately, we have Corey Graves to translate for them. Roman Reigns throws down for a while with Big E, one of my favorite superstars and a terrific example of positive representation. Meanwhile, this is all narrated by Booker T, a terrific example of misrepresentation.
Big E looks to power out of this.
See that Big E didn't want to go one-on-one. He didn't want to go mano-a-mano. He tried to go to the back.
Power, Booker.
I'm just saying.
The New Day beat down Dean Ambrose using their patented Unicorn Stampede, a triple team strategy that they've been doing for the better part of 2 years. And Booker T reacts like he just witnessed a murder.
The Unicorn Stampede continues for the New Day. Tag after tag after tag.
Referee, do your job.
Tags are the referee. These are legal tags.
Hey Booker, the ref was counting to 5. What do you want him to do? Say no, don't do that? That would be a massive abuse of his authority. Come on now.
Now the official warning, Woods.
It's about time.
Professional wrestling is a form of storytelling, and Booker T plays an important part in that story. See, he's the part of the story where you turn the page and find that the margins are covered in childish scribbling of a student that was too distracted to pay attention in class, so he wrote stuff like, Frodo has a tiny wee-wee in the corner of the page. Roman Reigns tries to hit his patented offense on Xavier Woods, or as Michael Cole puts it,
looking for another Samoan chop.
Speaking of completely fumbling the name of a move, here's what happens when Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose both go for their respective finishers. See if you can spot the difference.
Boom!
Knee!
Oh, yeah.
Ambrose, dirty deeds!
Yeah.
Joman James, Gene Jambros, and Jeth Jolings hit Jofi Jingston with the Jipple Jower Bomb and get the gin. Now on to the Women's Traditional Survivor Series match.
What?
And let me tell you, these women have got into tip-top shape for this match. They're even comparable to the physiques of the male superstars.
You know, this past week on SmackDown Live, the women of the Red Brand wanted to make sure their counterparts knew exactly where they stood come Sunday.
Yes, look at those Beautiful athletic women. That one that looks like an anthropomorphic chipmunk is kinda hot if you ask me. Oh wait, Renee Young was narrating over the wrong footage? He's still fucking hot. But never fear. When you need someone to describe intense climactic action in order to hype up tonight's red-hot feuds, you can always rely on Jerry the King Lawler.
It was all this unexpected stuff is what has made this Survivor Series so great. It's leading up to it, you didn't know what to expect. That makes tonight just, what is going to happen tonight? Look at this.
Or he'll just provide the commentary equivalent of, the adorable ghost of Renee Young is haunting the backstage area.
Oh, no.
Okay, ladies.
Yes, much like the male superstars, the women's WWE roster is also partaking in the traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series mayhem. And the women of the SmackDown Live roster unite in a raw, passion-filled display that proves they're on the same page. And then Jerry Lawler pisses all over that.
What I got from watching those lovely ladies just then was the fact that even among the team itself, it is going to be so embarrassing for one of those ladies to get eliminated.
Yes, that's exactly what I got from the footage of the women chanting and showing solidarity. That they might get super embarrassed and run away crying if they lost. Sure, that totally checks out. But I'm sure they'd be giving us the exact same spiel if it were the male superstars, right?
And I'm just saying this because this is what my wife says. It's hard enough, when us dudes are doing it. It is my understanding, however, that you ladies are even worse on yourselves than we are.
Well, I suppose it's an improvement from the days where Booker T insisted that women are insane and are naturally predisposed to hate each other. The women's revolution, folks! We're treating the women just like all the male superstars, except for the times when we don't. Both women's teams come out to the ring, while Michael Cole explains the motivations behind this really quite heated rivalry.
Well, anyway, SmackDown deserved this because remember, they started this whole thing.
Yes, it's always good when a wrestling feud can be boiled down to the words, they started it. Mummy Stephanie, those SmackDown kids have been really mean. Can we go fight them? How many times do I have to tell you no? But they started it. Oh, fine, go hashtag under siege them then. Yay, thanks Mummy Stephanie. Booker T reaches into the meme bag and pulls out something from 2011.
Come on now, Sasha Banks. She's got tiger blood, man. She's all about winning.
Yeah, way to rely on tired old jokes that nobody even enjoys anymore. We don't need any of that crap, do we, Cybook?
Quack, quack.
Yeah, we're all about fresh comedy that everyone enjoys, and we don't repeat jokes until people get sick of them. Look, a glass of milk! Hilarity! Joining Team Raw is former NXT Women's Champion Asuka, a woman who has yet to be beaten in the WWE. Unfortunately for Team Raw, they also have on their side Booker T, an announcer who has yet to be beaten over the head for being a giant racist.
Like the Empress of Tomorrow.
Can I say it? She's extraordinary.
And again, remember, guys.
No, you know what? You're probably right. I'm just overreacting. That isn't that racist. He's just putting on a super offensive, stereotypical Asian accent. You know, the kind of thing society had enough of about 2 decades ago. What are you gonna do? It's not like someone could just ask him not to do that. That's gotta move on, I suppose. Alicia Fox leads Team Raw in this fight, somehow managing to juggle both being a professional wrestler while also moonlighting as a construction supervisor.
Oh, let's not take anything away from Alicia. She's a former women's champion.
Oh. Booker T forgets which team Natalya is on and accidentally roots for her. But you can understand his confusion as there aren't nearly enough visual aids in place to help him figure it out. You know, like the giant blue shirt she's wearing with the SmackDown Live logo on it. Just way too much left up to interpretation. Nia Jax yells something at Tamina.
Just kick it out.
Oh! Huh. Let's listen back.
Kick it out.
One more time.
Kick it out.
Got it. The referee makes the mistake of counting the pin in a spot that was clearly meant to be a near fall. But unfortunately for the referee, he has nobody to tell him, no, don't do that, as that's his job. So he just pretends it was all intentional. Asuka gets in the ring, and I have acquired permission to show her segment of the match completely unedited as she finishes off Team SmackDown and gets the win. know, SmackDown, you probably would have stood a chance if you'd had Nikki Bella leading her Survivor Series team. Who's on that team again, Nikki?
Lana, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and my twin sister, Brie Bella.
Backstage, Stephanie McMahon and Daniel Bryan play their favorite party game. Guess which way my bra is pointing.
Bra's up.
Unfortunately for Stephanie, her guess was way off, and Daniel Bryan's bra was actually aimed in a downwards direction. Better luck next time, Steph. John Cena is voicing Ferdinand the Bull in an upcoming animated movie, which seems appropriate tonight as Cena's last-minute and completely ineffectual participation in the Survivor Series main event is Total Bull. Cena summarizes people's responses to him being cast in a lead role in an animated film.
I'm Ferdinand.
The theme song for Survivor Series is Kid Rock's Greatest Show on Earth, which fits perfectly as tonight's event will indeed determine which WWE branded product is the A show and which is the B show.
The Big Show?
No, not the Big Show, the B show. Yeah, that's right, you get back in your box. The Miz and Baron Corbin are feuding because, you guessed it, branding and stuff. But Baron Corbin made it somewhat personal when he insulted The Miz over Instagram. You know, the thing your teenage daughter uses to take potshots at that bitch Susan in Trig? Interviewed backstage, The Miz insists that he is laser focused on his arbitrary feud with another guy he hasn't really interacted with.
Another man talks about your pregnant wife and your unborn child. It brings on a whole new focus. I have never been so focused in my entire career as a WWE superstar, and I will unleash everything that I have on Baron Corbin.
Yes, he is so focused that he can't even think of a single specific thing that he's going to do. So he just says he's going to unleash all of his everything on Baron Corbin. History is being made tonight.
And now we get the gift of the first ever champion versus champion match.
Sorry, I mean, history is being completely overlooked tonight. Unfortunately for The Miz, he is only able to unleash some of the everything that he has, and he loses to Baron Corbin. Post-match, Booker T thanks his lucky sandwiches that Michael Cole is here to do simple addition so he doesn't have to.
Hey, have you looked at the scoreboard? We're still up 2-1.
Still up 2-1.
In association with sponsor K Jewelers, Bayley helps a guy pick out an engagement ring for his partner and then stands at ringside while he proposes to her. Unfortunately, Alexa Bliss interrupts the proceedings and explains that the ring that Bayley chose is the same ring she bought as a child when she wanted to propose to The Rock because she loved wrestling so much. The wedding is immediately cancelled because Bayley may not have kissed any boys. What a loser that Bayley is. Paul Heyman does promotion for the new suplex-themed Calvin Klein fragrance.
Then, now, and forever, Brock Lesnar.
Next up, it's The Bar versus the Usos, and Michael Cole strings us along with a plug for Hulu.
Watch all of your favorite TV shows and movies online with Hulu and get next day unlimited instant streaming access to all of WWE's weekly programs.
Ah yes, instant stringing access. It's like streaming, except with lots more strings attached. The Usos come out and pitch their Samoan variation on the classic sitcom, which they call Cheers, Oos.
Hey, if you're the bar, then that makes us bartenders.
The sitcom would of course feature various other popular Samoans filling in the various Cheers roles. Rikishi as Coach, Nia Jax as Carla, The Rock as Norm, because obviously he can't enter a room without people shouting his name, and Roman Reigns as Frazier, because like him or not, he's gonna be a main character for at least another decade.
All this bar talk, right? Bar talk, bars. This bar, that bar. What about candy bars? No. What about ice cream bars? No. Pull-up bar? No. Crowbar? No.
So now that we've established that bars do indeed exist, let's get to this wrestling match. The Usos take it to the bar in a tag team bout that exemplifies exactly why these two groups are worthy of being showcased as some of the best tag teams in the world today. And Booker T's commentary exemplifies why it's a bad idea to jam a fork in the hotel wall outlet first thing in the morning in order to wake yourself up quicker.
Booker, where did you win 10 tag team titles?
Why would you want to know? Have you ever won any? No.
Actually, Corey did at NXT.
Yeah. I mean.
The bar gets hit pretty hard and looks worse for wear, but Booker T knows exactly the kind of pep talk they need.
Think about the brand right now, Sheamus. Don't think about the universe, all right?
Yes, if you can't do it for the shitty branding term we came up with for the audience, at least do it for the WWE brand itself. Do it for the nonsensical company jargon, guys. And while it may sound kinda silly, I have it on good authority that Sheamus and Cesaro are very passionate about branding. Oh, brandy, not branding. Sorry, I got my wires crossed. The Usos offer a special invitation to Sheamus.
Super kick party, Sheamus, you're invited. Meeting in the middle.
The Usos will also soon start Us-sweeting each other and will begin shooting their very own YouTube series called Being the Meet and Greet, which is all about their various appearances at promotional events the world over. Also, Jim Cornette suddenly hates them. The Usos win the match, and branding the world over is safe for another day. Meanwhile, Booker's commentary is so baffling that it causes Corey Graves to get along with Byron Saxton, which I believe is one of the signs of the apocalypse. A commercial for the new Then Now Forever Elite Series action figures ends in tragedy when the Seth Rollins figure buckle bombs Kofi Kingston, causing the Kofi figure to have to retire from playtime after a career-ending owie. Hip-hop star Travis Scott is quietly given a cease and desist from the WWE for ripping off their highly original hand gesture. Two women who have never really interacted are really mad at each other and want more than anything to defeat the other in a wrestling match because, darn it, they are professionally obligated to. Booker T starts to draw comparisons to boxing, a sport so dangerous that even talking about it could lead to concussion. Or at least that would explain Booker's wild and confusing tangent.
In boxing, guys, it's called a championship rounds. 10, 11, and 12. Right now, Alexa Bliss is doing a hell of a job.
You're not the queen here, Charlotte!
I didn't quite get that analogy, but I knew you believed it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Charlotte makes Alexa tap out to the figure eight, which, as Booker T would likely inform you, is a term used in ice skating. And much like in ice skating, Charlotte just did a hell of a job. Backstage before AJ's match, Jinder Mahal gets retribution on him for ending his reign as WWE champion. Just call me the Dwayne Johnson of comedy, because I just hit rock bottom. AJ Styles takes on Brock Lesnar in a genuinely exciting World Champion versus World Champion match. And in the video package promoting it, we see footage of Paul Heyman accidentally wandering into a screening for the Peanuts movie when he wanted to go see Creed.
This ain't no freaking Rocky movie.
AJ has a lot riding on this match, so obviously Jerry Lawler takes it upon himself to introduce AJ to the underside of that bus he was using earlier.
AJ wears it on his sleeve, on his back, that he built SmackDown Live, so this means so much more to him than just walking out with a victory.
Well, I don't know, but if AJ really does feel that way, he's putting more pressure than he deserves on himself, because he did not build SmackDown. I mean, SmackDown was here before AJ Styles was here. I mean, but he can think that in his mind.
Oh, you know, just one of AJ's most over catchphrases. Let's see what happens when we just completely pull the rug out from under it, shall we? Yeah, why not? Josh Reddick of the Houston Astros is in attendance, and given that he's carrying 2 belts from competing brands, he is forced to have to fight himself due to tonight's pay-per-view theme. This is one of the most highly anticipated matches of the night, so of course the champ comes out first because, oh yeah, screw tradition and all that. Oh wait, they're both the champ. Shoot, I can't get irrationally angry about this. AJ Styles is a one-man ragdoll physics engine, and Michael Cole demands that the match pander more to his fetishes.
They're grabbing that left knee right there.
I think he should be grabbing every part of his body, bugger.
Brock puts AJ away with the F5, and the commentary team gets hypothetical with their hyperbole. That's hyperbole-thetical.
If Brock Lesnar's injured, What does that mean for the future of Raw? If AJ Styles is injured, what does that mean for the future of SmackDown?
You know, if Lesnar were injured, there's a strong chance that nobody watching the Raw product would even notice. Traditionally leading us into the traditional Survivor Series traditional main event of tradition, Peter Rosenberg advises fans everywhere as to how to handle their Death Note-themed body pillows.
Gotta hold that L if you catch it. You gotta just hold it tight.
You gotta get
Nothing
it.
you can do.
You own it. You own it.
Hold on to it tight.
Love that L.
Synonymous with Survivor Series, HBK Shawn Michaels gives us his insight into tonight's match.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And well, of course. Yeah, well, you know, and so it all comes down to, again, for me, it comes down to talent. And then, of course, you know, I also lean towards the personal. I was, you know,
Between these two, can I go there?
No, it's big. But I, you know, honestly, it is. It's hard, and it is. It's understandable.
Is it? Yes, it's WWE Raw versus WWE SmackDown Live. A feud so intense and personal, it started with a hashtag and ended with a tag clash. Team Raw comes out first, led by Kurt Angle, and Finn Balor only finds out at the last moment what brand he's on when he checks under his jacket. Triple H was announced as being on Raw's side in this fight as a last-minute bombshell, and Michael Cole pays homage to the game by recalling the song that was at #1 in the charts last time he wrestled in a pay-per-view main event. Late December, back in '63, Team SmackDown Live comes out to confront Raw, including their own last-minute bombshell teammate John Cena, who was definitely not thrown into the match without any build or reason other than, oh god, we don't have any A-list talent on SmackDown Live available. After all, this match showcases John Cena in his prime. Usually when he claims you can't see him, you actually can. Whereas in this match, it's actually somewhat debatable as to whether he really appeared in the first place. Both teams take turns taking shots at each other, with some unusual and fun matchups lighting up the crowd. And then Booker commandeers that bus that Jerry Lawler was using earlier and drives it in reverse at full speed into the ring.
Let me tell you something. You think Nakamura is ugly now? Wait till Braun Strowman get his hands on him.
Ah yes, Shinsuke Nakamura, known the world over for being a talented professional wrestler, and also a massive butterface. Seriously, I think even Rick Steiner, the dog-faced gremlin, got less flack for his looks than Booker just randomly aimed at Nakamura. Finn Balor gets in the ring, and Shinsuke Nakamura demands to be tagged. But unfortunately, Randy Orton mistakes him for some sort of hideous gargoyle perched on the ring ropes and ignores him out of fear. Bobby Roode tags in, and the universe implodes when Triple H is forced to face a combination of all his old gimmicks rolled into one human being. Everyone on the Raw team spends more time infighting than it does focusing wrestling the guys on Team SmackDown Live. I mean, it's almost as though they don't even care about brand warfare and are instead focused entirely on their personal storylines. But that would be preposterous. Not caring about branding? What are they, a normal functioning human being? Team SmackDown beat down Strowman on the outside, and Michael Cole transforms into the opening lyrics to Blue Moon by the Marcells.
Strowman had bad intentions for Cena. Now both men fighting back again on the monster among men.
It comes down to 3-on-2, with Raw taking the advantage, and then Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens from SmackDown Live come out and attack Shane McMahon. You see, these two reprehensible individuals committed the mortal sin of not caring about two TV shows fighting each other because of a pay-per-view gimmick, and so they were punished by Shane McMahon and left off the Survivor Series card almost completely, which is pretty lenient if you ask me. In my opinion, a misdemeanor like not being invested in two WWE trademarks having a fight should be punishable by execution. But clearly Sami and Kevin women don't appreciate just how kind their benevolent leader was, so they beat the shit out of him. Which is not only evil, it also doesn't make sense tonight. It's Raw versus SmackDown Live, guys, not SmackDown Live versus SmackDown Live. You're not being thematically appropriate. You're going against brand. The worst crime imaginable. Braun Strowman eliminates Randy Orton, bringing it down to 3 against 1. But then Triple H realizes that everything isn't about him right now. So he betrays Kurt Angle and then pretends to be friends with Shane McMahon and then beats Shane McMahon and then instigates a rivalry with Braun Strowman. You know, just in case you forgot what the early 2000s felt like. And the late 90s to an extent. And the mid-2000s and a little bit of the late 2000s. And now. Well, that's your lot for this Survivor Series brand Remark. Tune in next Survivor Series to see me go one-on-one with Botchamania, because we are two different brands and therefore must fight each other because, I don't know, hashtag Under Siege or something. Should probably use a different Steven Seagal movie, just in case I get sued. How about hashtag Executive Decision? And in case you were wondering why I didn't make fun of the WWE's forced slogan for this year's Survivor Series pay-per-view, well, here's your reward for waging through the entire video.
This is the one time of the year that Raw and SmackDown compete in head-to-head competition.
The one night of the year when Raw and SmackDown compete in head-to-head competition.
The one night of the year where Raw and SmackDown compete in head-to-head competition.
The one time of the year when Raw and SmackDown compete in head-to-head competition.
The one night of the year when SmackDown and Raw go head-to-head in competition.
The one time of year that Raw and SmackDown go head-to-head in competition.
The one night of the year where Raw and SmackDown compete in head-to-head competition.
The one night of the year when Raw and SmackDown compete in head-to-head competition.
The one night of the year where Raw and SmackDown go at it in head-to-head competition.
The one time of year Raw and SmackDown go head-to-head in competition. On the one night of the year that Raw and SmackDown go head-to-head in competition.
The only night of the year that we get to see Raw versus SmackDown going head-to-head in competition.
I believe Survivor Series is like the one and only night a year that Raw and SmackDown will collide like head-to-head.
Head-to-head, yeah.
Something like that. It's like you hear that over and over and over.
Was that the correct wording?
Let me see. I don't know.
Compete in head-to-head competition, Sean.
And the word on the street is you don't say it exactly like that. Somebody's going to be selling oranges on the highway.
One night of the year where Raw takes on SmackDown.
Be sure to tune in to my next pay-per-view Remark for the Royal Rumble. You know, the other time in the year when both Raw and SmackDown Live superstars compete in head-to-head competition. Hashtag Toodle Pip.